Are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time, are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time, today I have felt prompted to speak of the importance of preparation for a future event of supreme importance to each of us, the second coming of the Lord. The Scriptures are rich in references to the second coming, an event eagerly awaited by the righteous and dreaded or denied by the wicked. The faithful of all ages have pondered the sequence and meaning of the many events prophesied to precede and follow this hinge point of history. Four matters are indisputable to Latter-day Saints. 1, the Savior will return to the earth in power and great glory to reign personally during a millennium of righteousness and peace. 2, at the time of his coming, there will be a destruction of the wicked and a resurrection of the righteous. 3, no one knows the time of his coming. But 4, the faithful are taught to study the signs of it and to be prepared for it. I wish to speak about the fourth of these great realities, the signs of the second coming and what we should do to prepare for it. The Lord has declared, "He that feareth me shall be looking forth for the great day of the Lord to come, even for the signs of the coming of the Son of Man. Signs that will be shown in the heavens above and in the earth beneath." The Savior taught this in the parable of the fig tree, whose tender new branches give a sign of the coming of summer. So likewise, when the elect shall see the signs of his coming, they shall know that he is near, even at the doors. Biblical and modern prophecies give many signs of the second coming. These include the fullness of the gospel restored and preached in all the world for a witness to all nations, false Christs and false prophets deceiving many, wars and rumors of wars with nation rising against nation, earthquakes in diverse places, famine and pestilence, an overflowing scourge, a desolating sickness covering the land. Iniquity abounds, the whole earth in commotion, and men's hearts fail them. In another revelation, the Lord declares that some of these signs are his voice calling his people to repentance. Hearken, O ye nations of the earth, and hear the words of that God who made you. How oft have I called upon you by the mouth of my servants, and by the ministering of angels, and by mine own voice, and by the voice of thunderings, and by the voice of lightnings, and by the voice of tempests, and by the voice of earthquakes, and great hailstorms, and by the voice of famines, and pestilences of every kind, and would have saved you with an everlasting salvation, but ye would not. These signs of the second coming are all around us and seem to be increasing in frequency and intensity. For example, the list of major earthquakes in the World Almanac and Book of Facts shows twice as many earthquakes in the decades of the 1980s and 1990s as in the two preceding decades. It also shows further sharp increases in the first several years of this century. The list of notable floods and tidal waves, and the list of hurricanes, typhoons, and blizzards worldwide show similar increases in recent years. Increases by comparison with 50 years ago can be dismissed as changes in reporting criteria, but the accelerating pattern of natural disasters in the last few decades is ominous. Another sign of the times is the gathering of the faithful. We are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time. We are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time, a refuge from the storm and from wrath when it shall be poured out without measure upon the whole earth. While we are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time, we are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time. We are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time. We are powerless to alter the fact of the second coming and unable to know its exact time.
Try to have this one, good soul. Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, show great signs and wonders, insomuch, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Israel just now turned the 14th of Av. It is no longer the 9th of Av. Islam has failed to have their judgment day with the second coming of their Jesus. They failed. Islam is now exposed as a false religion with false prophets, the Quran being a false document. Their Jesus didn't destroy the Jews. It's too late now. He missed it. So we can now judge them by their fruits. Islam is false. So it's going to be disappointing news for over 2 billion humans on the earth. So what about Christians? Well, fortunately, they've replaced the Jewish interpretation, so now this is all literal history. And so, the day of his coming is from Revelation 19. But according to Matthew, no man knows the day or the hour, even though Matthew gave it to you. And so, 11 and 17. And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, are the moments we too can share, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. And so they see this as literal. They don't see this as 8 April 2024. It's an actual horse. It's actually white. It's actually from outer space. And Jesus is sitting on him, coming from outer space, on the back of a white horse. And so this isn't astronomy. This is real. And so it's not 8 April 2024, Travis. Okay. That date also, being in Matthew, I like young divas. Good. Matthew actually doesn't say cross, they say crucified. Because I'm not saying cross. They crucified him. Oh, nope, there it is. Verse 40. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Cross is not a T. Cross is an X. Okay. They didn't use crosses in the Roman period time. So, this is the whole push to have the Bible pushed in our school systems in this nation, is so that we can rewrite history and put crosses back into the Roman period time. And extend Herod's life for a number of years from 4 BCE so that Jesus can be born in 1 CE and Herod can still be alive. And then other things also of changing to that. But that's the whole thing, is that Christianity is based on Roman Emperor Constantine. 325 CE with the first creed of Christianity, the Nicene Creed. That's where the changes took place, in that document. They took these documents that had the Jewish story character named Jesus, and they said, that's the name of our Christ. And so these stories are now literal history. And so the prophecies and revelations of the Jewish authors are gone. And you've got a whole bunch of historical errors being rewritten by Constantine. And this is why the Christians created the Dark Ages. And yet they have to deny it. Nope, Jesus is light and truth. You just gotta believe. It's the world that's dark. Yeah, Dark Ages. As they blame the Jews for murdering their Jesus, who somehow is not real and above normal, supernatural, and therefore cannot be killed because he doesn't exist, and yet somehow the Jews murdered him. Yet another of the problems. But Constantine, to trick all of the various congregations who had their own gospel, there were far more than just the 4 that were approved for publication. They were convinced that Constantine was legitimate because he claimed he saw a sign in the heavens of the Chi Rho. And yet, despite this, painters, all these generations, the majority of which have done T crosses rather than the Chi Rho cross. It's the Chi Rho cross, right there, come down from the cross, Chi. And the Rho comes from the Egyptian hieroglyphs of the flag symbol, which is for God. And so the cross with the line through it, the Chi Rho, is God on the cross. That's all Constantine did. He tricked everybody. And to this day, there are over 2 billion who have been deceived by him. Not just Islamists, 2 billion, who have now been proven false. Iran is a sensitive snowflake and chickened out. Iran is making excuses. Well, if the new talks work, then we won't do it. But if they fail, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. If it fails, it failed. Hello? It always fails. Hello? You're making excuses. And so, yeah, despite all the suicide bombings, Iran's not willing to do it. They failed. It could be because of Nelson. Remember the other week, he again saw that Islamic leader, religious leader? Yeah, and so he probably, made a deal with him. Hey, Travis has figured this out. Can you prove him wrong? But we will be wrong. We've been planning this for 200 years. Yeah. But Travis has to be humiliated. No, Travis is A-okay after last night. The water was poured out on the altar of Mormons, flooding the valley and flooding everywhere in Utah. I did my part. That was incredible. It was awesome. Live coverage of the flooding, pouring out of the water on the altar. And everybody missed it because YouTube's too humiliated and embarrassed to admit that I'm right. They're back. YouTube's cowards. They're afraid to let me get popular. Because YouTube's in on it, trying to destroy America. They're terrorists. So, yeah, and it can also have a part to play with Trump making the claim after his failed assassination stunt. He was still pushing it on Vox. An AR-15. He says he was shot. And it's healed. I'm a fast healer. Trump was not the target. And so, since the one guy died, the FBI needs to be investigating as to why the shooter would take out the firefighter. They're not doing it. And they're still, with Fox, pushing the narrative that Trump was the target. God. So, yeah, now he's claiming Iran has cyber-terrorized him. Really? You? The one who tore up the nuclear deal. And tore up the nuclear deal with Russia so that Russia and Iran can... Are you sure it was you? Are you sure Iran is hating you? Dear God. If anything, Iran hates Biden for sending out the fleet last week. And I'm confused. The FBI finally listened to me after all these years of providing them with tips after tips and evidence and documents and receipts. They were never listening to me, and finally they did. And I'm speechless. I'm not sure how to think about this, because yesterday I found out that our government sent in more at the last minute. And sent in a sub, exposing a sub of ours. Because over the weekend, I sent the FBI some stuff and says it's going to be too late on Monday. But Iran chickened out. The force of America, I don't think they were expecting. And so they backed down. If we had not sent in the fleet, yeah, they most likely would have. But I'm still wondering. I don't know if Brad is still in the submariners. Is that what they're called? But if he is, I wonder if I, through my tips over the weekend, got him sent into the war zone. Hey, Brad. You know, if you die, maybe Darren can prosecute the case on your behalf, like he did for Saddam Hussein. Yep, I got family connections. So, yeah, this is what Christians are not getting. Because on 8th April 2024, the Cairo was formed over the United States of America, not Jerusalem. There was no white horse. It was Pegasus, the constellation. The solar eclipse, the sun god at noonday, Amen, cast his shadow upon the earth and created, that was actually up, created the two crosses to form the first and the last letter of the Paleo-Hebrew script. The script is even prophecy and revelation of the latter days. And you've never heard it before because I'm the one who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, and I'm known worldwide for it. So if you have heard it, and you didn't see that it was from me, and they didn't credit me, it was me that they got it from. And it's all free stuff on academia. And so, yes, this is what the scriptures are telling us. They're giving us the days and the hours of when these signs in the heavens are going to happen. And so we know the first year and the last year of the latter days. It's not just a one-time event. It's a whole 8 years. And so Revelation, being the day and hour by name, even though it's apocalypse in Greek, but Revelation is days and hours of predicted future events, prophecies. And so Revelation 12, you see a sign in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun. And so, yeah, like I did the video again, because I was a part of the first batch of videos of it. Nobody credited me. But yeah, everybody knew. 23rd September 2017. I'm the one who said verse 5 is also included, because so does the Book of Mormon, so does the Joseph Smith translation, so does Isaiah. You gotta include chapter 6 with chapter 7. 23rd September 2017. This cannot happen any other day and hour. That's it, that's all, one time only. 23rd September 2017. Well, what's this doing in here? This is 1,500 years old. 1,800 years old. They go the other way from the math. 1,800-year-old document. And it's talking about the first year of the latter days being in 2017. And it's right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. 2017? No. It's when the Babylons first came and conquered Judah. 597 BCE, so that 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem that year is 1, not 4 CE. Because it's got to be literal history. And it has to prove the church true. Just like the Bible has to prove Christianity true. And so these are the problems that are faced here. Is that the day and hours are given to us. You just need to use science. The Catholic Church burned astronomers to the ground. On crosses, nonetheless. Strange. And so, yes, then you have Abinadi, who's burned on a cross, and then King Noah. And so, yeah, Christianity is exposed as false, just like Islam. Because using science, we do know the day and hour. A Christian, after Constantine, added in that ridiculous absurdity. Because it's all over the place. We do know the day and the hour. And so if it's Jesus of Christianity, he too didn't show. Oh, maybe he's a feeling in your heart? Spiritual witness feeling? Because he's not real? Nobody can actually see him? And you've learned from other false prophets who gave you days and hours, and it didn't happen as they came and went. You know, like the Seventh-day Adventists. And others throughout the centuries. And so, yeah, this is exposing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints too. The church prophets, seers, revelators of titles say they will not prophesy, they will not reveal. No future predictions, no day and hours. They're not going to do it. Why are they claiming the titles? When they're going to deny the powers thereof. That was your first clue, Mormons. This church ain't true. You got fooled. And so when Oaks, who I've got the clip all set, ready to go, clips technically, I just have to insert the pictures in the right places of his clip. He has to maintain the lie. That's why he says, no man knows the day or the hour, just like Christians. Even though it was a Christian who put it in, not a Jew of the original author. The lie has to be maintained at all costs to maintain authority over mankind. It's the only reason. Nelson lied. He's a false Christ, a false prophet. Preaching a false Christ. Doesn't matter if it's non-Trinitarian. It's even worse because Jesus, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is non-Trinitarian. Why, Mormons? Because you can't use spiritual witness feelings to claim Jesus is here. Like Christians do. He has a body of flesh and bone now, as tangible as man's. And so when now Oakes says that Jesus is coming the second time, he means physical. Physically on the back of a physical white horse from outer space. Not a spiritual witness feeling of it. It didn't happen. The church is false. Hello, Mormons. Hello. You can't run from this. The church is false. They're all false. So go back to the Jews, the original religion of the Egyptians, pre-Babylonian captivity, because every single prophecy and revelation of theirs has happened. Their Christs showed the signs in the heavens and on the earth have happened. Jesus didn't show, but the Jewish Christ showed, which Elijah is by translation the God Yah of the Hebrews. And he's portrayed as a human. And yeah, the whole sacrifice with contest with the priests of Baal, yeah, prophecy, revelation. It just happened last night. Jesus didn't show, but the Jewish Christ showed. And he dumped water on the altar. Lightning. And everybody doesn't want to humble themselves to admit it. That they were fooled. Over 4 billion humans on Earth have been fooled. And they've now been proven wrong by their fruits. Lack thereof. Matthew 7. By their fruits you shall know a false prophet. And you still won't believe. And so yes, if they failed in Israel, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they fail here in Salt Lake City. Just to prove me wrong. I did it again. I saved your lives. That's why I do these videos, to expose the enemy. Because when the enemy gets exposed, they go, crap, gotta rethink the date, go to plan B, C, D, E, F. How does Travis figure these things out? And you have never thanked me. Your lives got saved. Salvation, Savior, Yeshua, Yah saves, and you still can't figure it out? Dear God, Mormons. You're looking for someone who prophesies, predicts the future. You're looking for someone who reveals the day and the hour of the prophesied predictions of the future. You're looking for someone who has visions of his authority. And 86 dream, triple whammy dream for the 2 failed marriages and the failure of Mormons, the bride of Christ. You give women their agency, and they think they know better. Oh, you silly, foolish virgins. Yeah, I didn't get that clip. I could still get that clip, I guess, but he explains that it's not 50% Mormons are going to be the wise virgins, and 50% are the foolish virgins. It's a part thing, like Bruce R. McConkie said, for a third part of the hosts of heaven fell. It's not a third fell, so that you have to say, okay, no, we're at a third. You can't fall. You have to stay with the fence sitters. But I want to fall. Or the reverse. We need one more person to fall. Which one of you? Raise your hand. Come on. I'll pick one. You have to fall. Has to be a third. There's a third part of the stars of heaven that has to the earth. But I want Heavenly Father's plan. I don't want to fall. I want a body. Nope, sorry. Prophecy says somebody has to fall. Oh my God, Mormons. So yeah, the Book of Mormon. It's all prophecy about the latter days. So yes, you've got time now to go back over it and study it. Are you going to do it? No. We're going to keep going to church and keep paying them money. But notice the stock market fell yesterday. Church grabbed the extra money from the 100,000aires, thinking that they were going to become millionaires now. Nope. Bye-bye. Thanks for your money. Hilarious. And everybody should have known. All of these Christian branch-off religions, they're full of hate, trying to take away other people's agency. This is not a religion of love. This is blatantly, obviously not. Purposely causing holy wars in the name of Jesus to destroy other people if they will not conform and comply to their will, to put them into bondage, to make them stupid, and to cause the Christians to be suspicious and report on their neighbors. They're a witch. She enticed me and made me have sex with her. It's not my fault, wife. She's a witch. Just the sad realities of life. And it should have been obvious that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints cannot be true if Mormons have to attack me to protect the church. When it's blatantly obvious, it's false. None of the Jesuses showed. The one thing I'm going to add Malachi. Almost forgot. Then we'll get to relationships. Joseph Smith history even tells you Jesus is not the destroyer. He adds to Malachi, for they that come shall burn them, not Jesus. Christianity says Jesus is coming and he will burn the wicked. Joseph Smith makes it very clear there is no Jesus coming. He made it very clear Jesus is an abomination. The first creed of Christianity in verse 19. That is not the name of Joseph's church. If you see the Joseph Smith papers, you see that Willard Richards added it. Willard Richards exposed Brigham Young and his Danites as the evil-disposed and designing militant missionaries, lying about Joseph's church, cooing it, and murdering Joseph. Joseph Smith again repeated that in 19 July 1840. So let's get to those pics. So this was Joseph's plan for the latter days. 19 July 1840. Joseph makes it very clear where he stands. Then the enemy shall come as a thief in the night and scatter the servants abroad when the seed of those 12 olive trees are scattered abroad. Section 101, the parable that Joseph Smith gives. This nation will be on the very verge of crumbling to pieces and tumbling to the ground. And when the Constitution is upon the brink of ruin, Mormons will be the staff upon which the nation shall lean, and Mormons will bear away the Constitution from the very verge of destruction. Mormons of Joseph Smith's church are to save America, not let it fall. And so the enemy is then exposed as Brigham Young. And so then we go to the way to perfectiones. Pages 290 and 291. Church sent me a death threat. We've had it with you, Travis. How dare you? Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., published by Junior. The Council at Adam-on-Diamond, which section 116 is a forged document by the Danites. And this is proof of that, because it goes contrary to what Joseph Smith just told us in 19 July 1840. It's 1838 when Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit says this claim. He was told by Danites that Joseph Smith is going to do this, and yet Joseph Smith still in 1840 came out and said, this is how we're supposed to save America from the enemy, which would be Brigham Young and his Danites in the latter days. And so Adam-on-Diamond was the secret headquarters of the Danites. Joseph Smith never went there. He never said, this is Adam-on-Diamond. This is the altar where Adam offered sacrifice. That was the Danites. That's all code for this. in this council in the latter days, Jesus will take over the reins of government. This is a coup. This isn't saving the Constitution. You do know that if you're not a white male, your rights are now gone because SCOTUS overthrew the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Roe v. Wade? No, it was 14th Amendment, Section 1. Fetus, embryo, and sperm now have rights. You women, no rights. 14th Amendment, Section 1, gone. Cooed. Under Biden, by MAGA. And Biden's not giving it back to you. He's not invoking the Insurrection Act for your rights to be restored. And so now Harris, after Biden quit, is running on the campaign. Hey, you lost your rights under us. Vote for me or you'll never get them back again. She's holding your rights hostage, demanding you pay her to get your rights back. When it was MAGA. And you don't see the danger? And she's getting funding by Islamic terrorist groups. She's not giving them back. She's an anti-Semite, married to a Jew. And so, apparently, since Jesus doesn't exist, the government shall be given to the people of the saints of Jesus. And to repeat it, then shall he give the government to the saints. And so, yes, he goes back to when Jesus gets it. There will be a transfer of authority from Lucifer, who reigns with the keys of government on the earth in the United States of America, to Jesus. Biden gives the keys of government to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? To literal Jesus, non-Trinitarian. Jesus is supposed to appear to Biden and say, give me the keys of government, Biden. And then Jesus gives it to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you don't see this as contradictory to 19 July 1840 to save America. You don't see Lucifer's plan in any of this. America, you've failed. Your rights have to be taken away because you can't be trusted with your agency. And so, you're not allowed to know of it. Members of the church at large will not know of it. The saints cannot know of it. This is not love. This is not peace. This is not harmony and happiness and kumbaya. This is a coup. This is a terrorist threat of insurrection. God. And Mormons don't care. That's the most disturbing thing. A religion of hate. So Genesis makes it very clear how humans are different from all other species. Animals, plants, crustaceans, fish, bugs, no other species of life, regardless of being sentient, none of them can do what a human can do, which is that they can, one, utterly destroy the earth, blow it up. No other animal can. They can cause an extinction of certain things if food is scarce, but they can't destroy the earth. Especially plants, they can't do it, because they actually sort of thrive and take over. And this is what activists expose themselves as the enemy of mankind for, is that they want everything to be back in their wild, natural state to allow for survival of the fittest, natural selection. But humans have the capacity of proving Darwin a dumbass and a hater of mankind. Because humans not only can blow up the earth, they can also turn it into the Garden of Eden. They can domesticate so that everybody lives in harmony. And so yes, when you domesticate grains, you change them. They're not wild anymore. And so yes, you hear hunters talk about the difference between domesticated deer and wild deer. There is a difference in taste. But when you have humans, we can set up conditions for species to all live together in paradise. No other species of sentient beings who experience pain can do that. Only humans, just like Genesis told us. And so Star Trek has to be rewritten. It's pushing Darwinism. And Daniel Jackson on Stargate, too. Dear God. Turning him into an activist so that they can then justify him ascending for being perfect. No! An activist isn't a perfect person. They hate. They want to murder mankind. They're the ones claiming, oh, the earth is overpopulated, we need to start murdering people. Let's start with you! Okay. That's the one thing. Just when you hear an activist say that, say, okay, go ahead, you first. I promise I'll do it after you. And they won't do that. They will never sacrifice their lives to do what they think is necessary. They have no problem getting together with their orgy buddies and chain themselves up to a tree or a whale. But yeah, that's how you expose people for their fraud. They don't know about the difference between humans and plants and animals. And so they get these kooky ideas just like they were a part of a Christian religion branch off. And so yes, religion, because of the hate, sabotages relationships. So sad. That two people can't love each other. Got everybody saying you got to keep them separated. They're too young. You know, the parents, you need to understand the bigger picture because of the economy that we're living in and the government refusing to regulate the economy. You have parents who have been financial successes. I'm a daddy. And so the daughter has grown up in privilege. But then she hits puberty and has the crush on the guy that daddy doesn't like, because he knows how teenage boys are, because he was a teenage boy once. And so, yeah, even mother especially. And then they lie to their kid to deceive them about sex ed, to say that the teenager needs to turn it off and stay away from that boy that she has a crush on. She needs to stay in her room for the rest of her life, because she can't be trusted to make the right choices in life. And it's the fear of the parents that the boy just wants to have sex with her, because that's what boys do. Gets her pregnant, boy doesn't want to be with her anymore. And so the daughter is a single mom, she has to have that baby. It's murder. She has no rights. And so, yeah, no other guy will want her. She'll be forced to stay with mommy and daddy, and mommy and daddy will have to pay more money to spend on her and her child. That's what they're complaining about. Rather than setting up conditions for kids to be taught correctly, so that when they're raised and old enough, they will know what they're doing and make the right choices. And if they make the wrong choices, then they know that the consequences are going to follow those wrong choices. But they will know them, their bodies, and the guy's bodies or the girl's bodies, vice versa. And we just refuse to do that. We sabotage relationships. And everybody wants to marry fruit. Nobody wants to marry seed. I'm looking for the perfect fruit. And you sabotage your relationship when you do that. Every relationship is brand new. You're meeting the person for the first time ever. And so yes, because you're human, the only way to procreate the species is sex, and so thus we're designed to be attracted. And yet, with the miseducation and the abuse from religion and parents and government, you then have people convinced that they've got to pass up on love and pass up on other things to pursue a different career that other people want them to do. And you get little girls who think, I've got to go on a church mission. I need to get an education. I need to get a career. And then the perfect guy, God will bless me because of my righteousness in my 30s. And then we can have 2.5 kids and live happily ever after in our own home, white picket fence, having our own cars and credit cards, a whole walk-in wardrobe, shoes galore. And then I can do YouTube videos all about all my fashion, and then YouTube will say you're porn and ban your channel. Thousands of women are gone from YouTube. Not because of COVID, because of YouTube, since the new guy took over last February. 2023. Dear God. For a guy who has the greatest book on sex ed from his native country, he just hates women. Dear God. So yeah, relationship, you have to work on it. You have to get to know the other person. And it's a little tough because if you started off with sex, baby's going to come pretty quickly. So you don't have much time to get to know each other. And so, yes, you got religion and government now trying to take away contraception and birth control, and IUDs are now causing pain when they're not supposed to. All to prevent you from having happiness and agency. This is all to take away your agency and destroy relationships. They purposely want to decrease the surplus population. They hate humans. And the ones who get punished are those who are not the white superior race, who are rich. Because if you're poor and you're still white, no, you're unworthy. And that's sad, because so many people end up lonely. Hint, hint. With failed marriages because of it. Church can't be true if they're preaching the destruction of the marriage, putting it all on Jesus. Because Jesus doesn't exist from the first creed, Amusion. And so for the church it makes it worse. That Jesus is real, but you never see him because you're not worthy to see him. So you have to trust the prophets and destroy your relationship. So the first marriage, yeah, the family proclamation was used to ruin my relationship. Hinckley, misinterpreted, was used to ruin the second one. And the third one with the church, it's the whole kit and caboodle since Brigham Young. All kinds of excuses and justifications. And so yes, the abuse of women from little girls on up. Oh, you can't like a guy, you're a whore. You're ugly, you need to cover up and hide your face and your body and your... So much abuse on women. And women just grow up going to a psychologist who tells them to cope with it, rather than punishing the bullies. And so women think that they're not good enough for a guy because he didn't, want to breed with them right away. Or other women are instantly offended if a guy wants to breed with them right away and doesn't want to get to know their mind. A guy cannot wait. It's not something we can do. We can't turn it off. You were taught wrong. And so, yeah, miscommunication just destroys everything. And that's the whole point and purpose. This is the darkness of Christianity caused by Constantine. That there is no Jesus. It's now proven he's false. And yet, people are still going to go on believing in Jesus. Matthew 7 is true, but nobody believes it. Because nobody will put it to the test. It's other people, other religions, not you and your beliefs. And so, yeah, like I said, if nothing happens today, which didn't in Israel, unless it's going to be late. If it doesn't happen in Utah, if it doesn't happen for the nation, it will for this election. It's very clear. If Kamala wins and Trump fails to coup the government, as he's threatening to do, as he's already rigging to do, polling stations are already being threatened to decertify the election. The DOJ is threatening them back, saying, if you do what Trump threatened you to do, we'll threaten you. And the DOJ isn't locking Trump up. And so, yeah, she's going to not restore your rights. They're not doing it now. Why are they going to do it if they win? They had 4 years to fix things. They didn't. You lost more. This is the fate of America. And it could be that they don't want to do their own dirty work. That it's apt to we the people to get riled up to do it. So that they can swoop in and say, okay, we can't trust you with your agency. Look what you did. You caused this. You're to blame. So now we have to take away your rights, and we're going to have Lucifer's education for you now. So sad, Mormons. So sad. And so, yeah, bloodbath if they go through with it. But again, it's not Trump. Trump's not going to get a sword or an AR-15. No, you! He's trying to provoke you to do the bloodbath. And if you don't do it, then Trump is a failure. Again. So that's the whole thing. If we the people understood this, we could overthrow our government and restore it back to normal. But they're the ones in power. They give the orders to assassinate us. They victimize us as victims. So yeah, America is falling. And they're slowly taking away our rights. The whole cell phone thing, dear God. You got social media doing their best to brainwash you. And they've seen it's been successful. Just look at the terrorists supporting Islam. Little kids, all just looking at their cell phones, believing what they're told, and Zelf on the shelf, joining them. Oh, those bad Israelis, let's nuke them! Let's cause a Holocaust. I understand Germany was under threat and they had to Holocaust some people. We should use that on the Jews. You see what they've done? Purposely miseducated you, getting you to believe lies, forgetting history, not telling you about history, and then getting you to be their puppet murderers, abusers, bullies. That's all Fox News is. Just bullying. Just a bunch of whiny baby complainers throwing out bullying accusations and name calling. That's all they are. They're not news. And Biden won't stop them because the press is not the press, and they have no freedom of the press if they are not acting like the press. That's the one thing that nobody gets. When you take away other people's life, liberty, and property, you don't get freedom. You took others away. If you're a religion taking away other people's religious freedom, you don't get yours because you took others away. If you're the press taking away the press from others, you don't get yours. You got to be punished. If you take away somebody else's life, your life has to be taken. You steal somebody's property, you got to give it back and compensation. And liberty, if you lock somebody up wrongly, holding them hostage, you have to be held hostage. Locked you up. This is justice. You're not becoming like the terrorists if you lock them up. Oh, we got to let the terrorists have freedom of speech. They're bullying, threatening to murder people. YouTube, they have to be stopped. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints must be stopped. We cannot allow crime. That's why I was surprised that the FBI actually listened to me. They never listen to me. What's going on? I mean, yeah, granted, I pulled the authority card on them. And I saw one news channel do a former ambassador as an authority. He doesn't know squat. I am the only one who knows all about the Middle East from all period of time. I know how all the different religions were created and what their whole purpose and plan is. I am the expert. Nobody else is on the face of this earth. But I'm just surprised that they still exposed a sub just because of me. Because I doubt it was CNN, but I did notice CNN made some changes after I made my comment on Wolf Blitzer's segment, reminding them of 9th Ave. But, too late. They missed it. I mean, granted, it may take a while for the news to post the videos on it. Maybe they did it in the final minute. Deathbed apocalypse. No, it was just the Hamas rockets that were launched some 30 minutes to an hour ago. And again, 52 minutes ago, Israel was less flexible in recent Gaza ceasefire talks. And Iran still, like I said, they're not following through. So yeah, there was nothing. Hamas was the only one who did something, but it was just a few rockets. They failed their judgment day. Because every Friday, their noon prayers are added with Muhammad's judgment day quoting. They all know about their judgment day. That's what this whole war is about. It's the holy war for judgment day for them. And they failed. You know, they're kamikazes when it comes to holy wars because of the belief that they'll actually get 72 child bride virgins in their paradise when they're dead. And so, I don't know. The enemy failed again. But I showed, I fulfilled the prophecies. The atonement. So, alrighty. There's really nothing more to talk about. Church isn't true. Mormons won't believe. They're going to continue to go to church, pay their tithing, hate other people. Murder, steal, rob, destroy, lock up falsely. Because that's what Mormons do. Because that's what the church teaches them to do. Lack of communication, lack of. And so, yeah, there's plenty of videos on my channel for you to watch. Since YouTube's attacking me, what's the point? Because now it's just a countdown for the election and the bloodbath either way, getting you to do it for them. So are you still apathetic? You failed in 2020. dragging this out. That's the sad thing, is that because nobody is actually doing it, it just gets dragged out. People suffer slowly. This is torture. This is a torture technique of psychologists. So, we're over an hour. So I'm really not wanting to do videos. I mean, yeah, the churches can continue to do what they're doing, and they'll deceive you, and y'all won't listen. You never believe me anyway, so what does it matter? You just want to destroy human relationships. You want to destroy personal relationships. You want to destroy marital, sexual relationships, because you've been taught to hate. And so yeah, they failed because of that. It's just amazing. No Jesus, because Joseph Smith said Jesus isn't real.